got speed.
Take 4.
Stand by. Now, how are you gonna do it? Are you gonna bring it into frame or?
What works best?
I mean, I can be wide. No, I don't like being that wide.
Yeah.
Hold it up a little higher. Yeah, and don't cover your face.
Okay.
Right there. Yeah, that's good. And Laura, be careful. I just saw your mic there.
In your frame?
Yeah, it's in the shadow.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, good. That's a good height placement.
Gotta go?
I'm good.
Okay. One of the great things about funk, so a lot of what we talked about funk is the big stars of it, but people like Aura, this is a duo from part of the Dayton scene that then moved to New Jersey and were part of the Sly Sly. Aura is a band that's really connected to there's a slave New Jersey connection where slaves started in Dayton and they moved to New Jersey, and Aura was part of that team. They had a few hits. They were part of the whole idea when funk became more electro. So it could be a duo like this and have success and yet still have very strong funk elements. And this young lady ended up marrying the lead singer of Kool and the Gang, JT. So there's like a little funk R&B dynasty that they started in New Jersey. I wanted to revisit the talk about the higher plays only because one of the things that...
I'm sorry.
Sure.
I'm getting the reflection. Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
One of the things that's really interesting, we talked a lot, people talk a lot about people talk a lot about the album covers of the higher players. And I think that it's important because, go back to the idea about style, and one thing that was very interesting about funk bands, and as we look forward, is the idea of taking the visual elements of black music to another level. And that's what LaBelle did with their stage shows. That's what Earth and Fire did with their stage shows using Doug Henning's illusions. That's what P-Funk did with The Mothership. And even in the album covers, the idea that the cover was a part of the experience was something that was new to black music. In the 60s, the albums were kind of disposable. And then into the 70s and 80s, as the music got more sophisticated, the album covers got more challenging. And what's really interesting to think about is, you see this album cover, this is in the early 70s. What would the higher players have done in their height in the music video era? How would that have been? So, these guys, the ideas, the things that Rick James would do later, the higher players were doing before he came out. How's that?
That's good.
One of the bands that actually now gets forgotten in terms of funk is the Commodores. One of the bands is one of the bands that really has been forgotten as a funk band is the Commodores, because Lionel Richie became the king of the ballads, but the Commodores were one of the best funk bands around when they first came out, and there would be like one Lionel Richie ballad or Zoom or This Is Your Life on the album, but this was an ass-kicking band, and a lot of musicians, they played a lot in New York because their manager was based out of New York. So they were up here a lot, and people like Nile Rodgers, who we interviewed, talks about the fact that they were a killer band. I remember seeing them a number of occasions in their pre-Lionel Richie Ballad King mode, just ripping it on stage. Also, the whole singing style. I mean, that yeah sound. Lionel Richie, Steve Arrington, Sly Stone, Sugarfoot from the Higher Players, Larry Blackman, cameo. You can even hear it a bit on some Earth and Fire records. There was a way of singing and expressing yourself that comes out of the gospel church, but then had expression and funk and became kind of a freaky, all-purpose sound. And that was something that you found in Commodores records. So the Commodores, great band. Lionel Richie, obviously a mainstream superstar, but one of the premier funk bands of its era. Okay. Great, thanks.
Here, just hold up that first album again. I just want
Aura?
tighter. Yeah.
Okay.
Just want to get a cutaway.
Like this?
Tilt it forward. More. No, just tilt.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, hold that. Okay.
Okay. Because I think these will probably end up being like thinking this will be the web content. These little album things that we'll have those there. Sound through.